Now at 10, a shooting at the site of the Chiefs victory rally. We'll hear from a woman who was there. Also, a report from our crew on the scene of the parade. We'll hear from fans.
The four states' most watched news starts now.
Fireworks turn into gunshots. This is KOAM News at 10. I'm Dow Quick. Gunfire erupted during the rally celebrating the Kansas City Chiefs Super Bowl victory this afternoon. At least one person has been killed and at least 30 others injured, including 9 kids receiving treatment for gunshot wounds. Authorities have taken 3 people into custody. Reporter Neil Jones has the latest.
This is the moment that the victory celebration turned violent. Gunfire, screams, as a horrifying reality sent fans, including families, running for their lives.
We have multiple victims over here.
You can see first responders giving CPR and fans being loaded onto stretchers.
I hear down, 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 everybody down.
800 law enforcement officers were on site, many running toward the gunfire, taking 3 suspects into custody. As all this was unfolding, we were covering the celebration live. And you've got kids and you've got elderly people and you're not expecting something like this. It was just as horrible a feeling as you can imagine. People began to run as hard as they could in all directions. People knocked down, children knocked down. A nearby level 1 trauma center is now caring for some of the victims.
There is one deceased person. Our gunshot wound total has went up to 22.
Late today, Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes tweeted, quote, "praying for Kansas City."
We were here for a safe celebration, and because of 2 bad actors or more, it is why we're standing here today.
This is absolutely a tragedy, the likes of which we would have never expected in Kansas City, and the likes of which we will remember for some time.
ATF and FBI agents remain on the scene to help with the investigation. They were here as part of parade security. Law enforcement officials tell us there is no evidence that this was an act of terrorism. In Kansas City, Neil Jones, CBS News.
Now, an acquaintance of KOAM reporter Fernandez Silva was inside Union Station when the shooting happened. Giovanna Klepper spoke with Fernanda and shared her experience.
Giovanna Klepper was in Las Vegas last week watching the Chiefs and celebrating the Super Bowl. Today was supposed to be another day of celebrations for her husband who works for the Chiefs, and all the fans. She told me she lived moments of a horror movie. Can you tell me what you saw today?
We thought the shooter was inside the Union Station, so we run away. I fell down, like my husband had to grab me. And then we went straight to the kitchen. There was like probably 40, 50 people in there. And everyone was trying to understand what's going on. The exit was locked. Everyone was screaming to open the doors, and no one was open. So my husband had to kick the door, and he kicked it out the door, and then we finally came downstairs. There was like kids with us that like they were missing like the parents. So we kept the kids with us.
Klepper also said she thought she was going to die, a celebration that unfortunately became a tragedy.
Fernanda, thanks. KOAM did have a crew at the parade and rally in Kansas City. We're going to have details of that and hear from fans in just a few minutes. Authorities responding to a domestic situation in McDonald County, Missouri, find 2 people dead. The initial 911 call yesterday indicated one person in a home was holding another at gunpoint. After authorities tried unsuccessfully to contact the people inside, they entered and found 2 people dead, apparently from gunshot wounds. Authorities have not yet released their names. Let's check in with Chief Meteorologist Doug Heddy for a first look at the weather.
Well, of course, it turned out to be a fairly mild day for us today. Average high is 50 degrees, and we shot well above that, up to 67 during the afternoon. Kind of a chilly start of 38 during the morning hours. A record high is 76 back on this date, but we're still holding mainly low to mid 50s. We have southerly winds. These are keeping our temps up just a little bit, and those southerly winds are going to stay kind of breezy as we go through the overnight hours, but we do have a cold front that is heading toward us, and that's going to cool us down just a little bit as we go into your Thursday. You can see with that front working in, we do have some clouds across the region. You can't rule out we may get a random sprinkler or 2, but most of the rain, snow stay well to our north. Then behind it, There's another storm system which will start to affect us tomorrow night, then also into Friday. So I'm going to break all this down for you here in just a bit.
See you soon. Kansas Humane Societies are advocating to update the wording in the Kansas Pet Animal Act through House Bill 2542. The act regulates the care of licensed pet animal agencies. Now, currently, the act requires facilities to have adequate care for companion animals. Kansas animal advocates are trying to add the word continuous to the act.
And it breaks our hearts, especially when you go to a site and that dog, is so dehydrated because it didn't have water because it was in an outside kennel and the water froze. And that person is stating, well, I gave them water a few hours ago.
The bill hasn't yet passed the House, and it would still need to get approval from the Senate. Some area kids got to work on their acting chops today at the Dream Theater in Joplin. Kindergarten through 5th grade students worked with experienced instructors on how to adapt children's literature into theatrical performances. Instructors at the company introduced the kids to everything from acting to music to even painting.
Students can choose whether or not they would like to come on a Tuesday and Thursday class or on a Wednesday and Friday class. What we're doing is adapting children's literature into full-length performances. And so today in this class, what they're doing is they're taking The Boy Who Cried Wolf and they're breaking it down and then they're rebuilding it again to their taste. So it'll be a little bit different than the original story would have been because it's all their input.
The Dream Theater troupe will host another youth acting academy in the spring. Coming up, our sports team was at the Kansas City Chiefs parade in KC. We're going to have some of the sights and sounds and hear from fans, plus the proposal for a new stadium for the Kansas City Royals. Those stories ahead in sports.
Your crew, here's 40 of them.
This morning in downtown Kansas City, Chiefs fans get the chance to celebrate their team doing something the NFL hasn't seen in almost 20 years. That's winning back-to-back Super Bowls. KOAM sports reporter Brock Baldridge was there for the Super Bowl celebration.
Let's go! Let's go! 6,944 days. It was said best by Chiefs radio play-by-play broadcaster Mitch Holtis, but that's the last time an NFL city hosted a World Championship parade in back-to-back years. Once again, Chiefs Kingdom celebrates another year on the highest summit in football.
It did a huge thing for the city. It brought the city together in a whole different way. It just made, I guess, the bond stronger between everyone. It's like this, for example, bringing everyone out to this event.
Just the atmosphere of the city and how we come together, and for it to be over Super Bowls. I mean, I'm 48 and I never thought that this would ever happen in my lifetime. So to be able to see 3 is unreal.
3 Super Bowl titles in 5 years, 4 World Championships in total, and high fives from number 15 on a regular basis. The question now is, what more is there to accomplish?
They're determined enough to do whatever they set their mind to. They're already talking about three-peat, so let's do it.
Honestly, just keep winning. I mean, I just feel like with our team we have right now, it's really special.
The only thing left on the books is a three-peat. I mean, we can try to catch Brady's numbers all we want, but I think a three-peat would mean a lot more than just getting the same amount of Super Bowls as Brady.
In Kansas City, Brock Baldridge, KOAM Sports.
A lot of those visuals show the exciting, more importantly, the safe side of today's Super Bowl parade. Our hearts go out to the victims of the tragedy that transpired shortly thereafter. And it's been a busy week across all of Kansas City sports, not just the Chiefs. Royals pitchers and catchers report to spring training. And with opening day 2024 just a month and a half away, the club's leadership makes an important announcement about its future. The Royals are proposing a new stadium in downtown KC near the Power and Light District, which has an estimated price tag of $2 billion. Now, according to the Royals website, $1 billion of that will be funded by their ownership group. The team's CEO and chairman, John Sherman, used this as a turning point for Jackson County, as well as the baseball franchise's future.
We're at a crossroads. In fact, we're here to talk about the crossroads. and our intention to make it the new home of the Kansas City Royals. I believe in my gut the timing is right for the Royals to become residents of the Crossroads and neighbors to Power and Light, 18th and Vine, and Hospital Hill.
That's a look at sports. A little later, a Valentine's Day trip to one of the 4 states' favorite wedding chapels.
Plus, we're tracking our next storm system rolling in. We're going to look at that coming up next. Well, it turned out to be a great Wednesday for us today, weather-wise. Temperatures fairly warm, upper 60s to near 70 degrees. And after a cold month in January, February has really turned it around. Look at this, the first week we were above average. We dropped below average a little bit this past weekend and then into Monday, but right back to near 60 yesterday, 67 for us today. That puts us 11 days of 14. Which have been above average. All right, it looks good. Here's Indigo Sky Casino and Resort. Of course, Indigo is just outside of Seneca, Missouri. It looks pretty good. We do have a few clouds which are rolling in, but besides that, we're shaping up pretty good. Still 53 in Independence, 54 at Grand Lake, Pittsburgh, Anderson, Bentonville, sitting at 53 degrees. Here, or 7th in Rangeline, 55. South winds at 15, kind of keeping those temperatures up just a little bit. It's been breezy throughout the overnight hours for us tonight. We're going to continue to see this with winds gusting 15 to 20 to 25 at times. Now watch what happens tomorrow. They switch around out of the north and lighten up. And then as we go into Friday morning, they go back south and then right back north as we go into Friday afternoon. This is going to usher in some cooler air for the weekend, and it's going to get a little gusty again as we go into Friday afternoon, kind of on the windy side with northerly winds 20 to 30. All right, some clouds have increased. We have a system passing by to our north. You can see a couple little sprinkles popping up. So don't rule out a random sprinkle or two, but most of this moisture will stay across northern Missouri, Iowa, up into Minnesota. Rolls east. Here's our next system tomorrow night and into Friday. But again, these are mainly warm systems. You can see a little dip in our upper level flow. All the Arctic air is locked up across parts of Canada. Now, every now and then we get these surges of cold air. Of course, we had the snow on Monday morning, and a little surge of cooler air is going to work in again as we go into the weekend. But all the Arctic air mainly stays across Canada into the northern plains. Let me walk you through time. Random sprinkle tonight. Sunshine returns by morning. Wind switch out of the north. A little bit cooler tomorrow compared to what we saw today, but still great. Lower 50s by noon. Most of us in the afternoon. 55 Stockton, near 60 Anderson. Lower 60s Bentonville, Grand Lake. 57 in Parsons. Tomorrow night, clouds start to thicken up across the region. Here comes our next system. Some isolated showers start to break out by Friday morning. As we go through the morning hours, showers start to work in. Temperatures are into the 40s. We drop. Could mix with some light snow showers. Doesn't look like a huge deal. The light snow showers into the afternoon and then pushing through the region and out of here. And then it turns colder by the time we head into Saturday morning. Overnight lows, lower 20s. Better chances for accumulations are going to stay across central Missouri. But we can't rule out from Fort Scott, Nevada, Pittsburgh, Lamar down toward Monette. So we need to watch that over the next 36 hours. Day planner for you Thursday, 43 in the morning. 50 by noon, high temp right at 57. 44 on Friday, cooler 42 Saturday, 55 Sunday, but sunshine returns, and then 60s return by late next week. Winter's not done yet, so just keep that in the back of your mind.
Okay, I believe you, but boy, spring sure trying to get a peek in.
Flirting
anyway.
with us.
I guess. Thanks, Doug. Wedding bells on this Valentine's Day next.
From the moment
A chapel in the far northeastern corner of Oklahoma was once called the wedding capital of the world, according to its owners. Today, one wedding was celebrated at Laverne's Wedding Chapel, but owner Patricia Jones says that in the Valentine's Day of 1992, for example, almost 100 weddings happened there. KOIM's Fernanda Silva has that story.
I've always wanted to do Valentine's Day.
Is there a reason for that?
I don't think so. It's romantic day.
Shannon and now Melissa Mosley chose the most romantic day of the year to say I do. Melissa not only chose the date, but also the location that holds a special place in her heart. Laverne's wedding chapel is where her parents and also her sister got married. So we can call it a family tradition?
I guess so. I wanted just something kind of small and not big and fancy and a bunch of people.
As witness, the couple had a friend. Patricia Jones, the chapel's owner, also was there. While only one couple got married at the chapel on this year's Valentine's Day, Jones says that back in 1992, on the same date, things were different.
It was lined from here all the way to the third floor of the courthouse, and that's when you had to get a blood test too, which took like 45 minutes.
Now she's only at the chapel by appointment, but that doesn't mean that a last-minute wedding can't happen.
If they call the courthouse that day, I can be here in 20 minutes.
While Jones feels like weddings are not as popular as before,
it's just a thing of the past, it really is.
Some things have not changed at the chapel. This art up here, it's also part of the history of the chapel. It was once placed inside where the weddings happened, but now it's out here with the sign.
You don't want to change it because, when they do come back 50, 60 years, later, say, oh, it looks just like it was when we got married.
A thing the Mosleys might be able to incorporate to their February 14th celebrations. The good thing, though, is that you're going to save money on gifts because it's the Valentine's Day. It's also the anniversary gift,
right.
So you don't need to buy.
Yeah, so she kind of messed herself up on that one.
In Miami, Fernanda Silva, KOAM News.
More than 100,000 people from all over the country have been married at that chapel. Melissa and Shannon Mosley have been together for less than 10 months. It's a love story that started online and crossed state lines. Independent Living in Joplin put on a Valentine's celebration for their consumers. Those who attended were able to socialize and got some food, and also encouraged to square dance. Staff members of Independent Living say this is the perfect atmosphere to engage with one another and enjoy the holiday.
But we're here to help them to do things just like everybody else. It's not necessarily what they can't do, it's what they can do. And we here at the Independent Living Center, we really want them to live independently. We are here for them, and it is time for them to let us help them to live independently.
Independent Living will celebrate its 30th anniversary of service in the Joplin area this year. A historic home in Carthage became the site of a Valentine's Day soiree. People could stop by the Phelps house, enjoy some live music, drink some wine, and even get a professional photo shoot done. All the money raised from that event will go toward renovating that landmark building.
The community is starting to realize and recognize it a little bit more since we've been hosting some more frequent activities here, and so I think they're realizing this is here and it's a venue. I'm surprised by how many local people don't even realize that it is a venue that they can rent for a very low rate, and we also give public tours by appointments.
It's a beautiful home. If you haven't, you should check it out. Officials said they hope to make this event an annual fundraiser. On this Valentine's Day, some Branson area painters have spread the love, or at least painted it on some rocks. Joe Hickman has their story.
On a gorgeous Valentine's Day near Table Rock Lake, inside this home, a trio of painters, Melissa Moore, Valerie Gardner, and Lindsay Lauderette, are at work using rocks as their canvas, not to create art, but to create smiles as they pan out all over the area to put their rocks in places that can be found to spread a little cheer. Nurse practitioner Mindy DeMoore not only got Valentine's flowers from her fiancé, but a gift from her patient, Valerie.
Happy Valentine's Day. Oh! I painted you guys a rock too.
You painted us a rock?
I did.
For your wedding. Oh, I love that.
Valerie is the one who got this group started, but it's part of a worldwide movement that she became aware of out of necessity after her traditional artwork had no place in her home to be displayed.
We just ran out of room to put pictures on the walls and stuff, so I just decided to paint rocks instead.
Valerie and her group sometimes sketch their image on the rocks before they paint them. And as to where they get the smooth rocks needed for their work?
Well, we do live in Stone County.
After placing the rocks in businesses around the area, they'll leave clues on social media as to where they can be found.
So it's kind of like an Easter hunt, which is really kind of cool.
And other rocks are given directly to people to show appreciation.
Fabulous. Best Valentine's Day ever.
If you see their faces light up, you know you've done something good.
We had such a great time. It just was nice to know that we were touching other people as much as it was touching us. It's
something small that I can give to somebody just to light up their day.
Of course, not everyone is receptive to painted rocks showing up in different places.
We'll
be back with more news after this. Southeast Kansas Special Olympics held their adult basketball and cheer events in Pittsburgh today. Special Olympics Kansas is dedicated to empowering individuals with intellectual disabilities to become physically fit, productive, and respected members of society through sports competitions, health and nutrition programs, and leadership development. This year, the Unified Team Basketball event was added where individuals with and without disabilities were able to compete together. We've been enjoying some pretty mild weather, and that's going to continue.
Yeah, tomorrow looks pretty good as well. Not as windy as well. 57, still going to be breezy, but not as bad as what we had earlier today. 44 with a few showers, maybe mixing in with some light snow on Friday morning. Cooling down for the weekend, but overall, next 6 or 7 days, pretty good.
Final sports note.
Tomorrow, several student athletes at Columbus High School are signing their national letters of intent to make their commitments to colleges, so we're going to hear a lot from them tomorrow.
Look forward to that. Don't forget the morning show at 5 a.m. and let's make it a great tomorrow.